Hi, Nicole here with Roots to Rise. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the worst and best stretches you can do for your lower back pain. Now, lower back pain, we need to remember, is specific to each individual person. Your drivers, your habits, your triggers are all very specific to your movements and your patterns. So there's no one fix-all for everyone. There's no one big cure, but these things that I'm going to show you to avoid and some of the things that I can show you to start implementing into your daily routines should help to reduce that low back pain so that you can start living a more pain-free, less tension, more comfortable life. Now, most of us spend a lot of time sitting at our desk or on the couch. Many of us unfortunately suffer from flexion intolerance. And what that means is that we spend so much time in a flexed position, which is this position, which is this position, that becomes our driver of pain. So some of the worst stretches you can do to relieve your pain are folding positions. So one being reaching down to touch our toes. So you're getting into that full fold. Lying on your back, bringing your knees towards your chest, whether it's both knees or one at a time. Bringing that leg over in that bent, curled position. And lastly, child's pose. This position right here. All of those motions keep us in that flexed position, and what it does is it actually creates a psychological phenomenon called stretch reflex, where you are likely experiencing relief in these positions, but that relief only lasts for 15-20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, sometimes a little bit longer. However, that pain always comes back. So it's leading you to believe that these movements are relieving your pain, where in fact, they can be drivers of it. So I'm going to show you a few stretches to help relieve that pain and help with your back pain. So the first one we like to do is from standing, because this is a wonderful one to do. You can do during the day, and it's spinal decompression. So that's planting our feet flat on the ground. We want to bring our hips under. So the cue we like to use is an elevator squeeze. So nobody likes to toot in the elevator, right? So just give a quick little squeeze, then release your glutes. What this does is it helps you find that neutral pelvis, okay? Plant those feet down, raise those arms up over your head, and reach as high as you can. You can put a slight back bend if it's comfortable, but we like to try and keep that spine nice and straight. From here, you can even reach from side to side. What this does is it helps decompress the spine, adding length to it and decreasing that tension. It's a wonderful one to do when you get out of the car, out of your seat after sitting for a long time. Another one you can do is cat camel. So this one has been scientifically proven by Dr. Stuart McGill, who's one of the leading back specialists in the world, that can help really significantly reduce that pain. So being on all fours here, you can plant your toes underneath or have them flat. Some people need to take their legs a little bit wider to allow space for their hips, and that's no problem. Hands are underneath shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. With this motion, this is not a stretch for the spine. This is allowing less friction to happen through the spine. So it's a spinal movement as opposed to a spinal stretch. So how we like to start this is from our hips. So you want to tuck that tail under. You can see that tail coming under and arcing up through your back. Then again, starting with the hips, bring that tailbone up towards the sky, and then up again, bringing your head up. Now you work through whatever motion and whatever range is comfortable for you, but you only need about 6 to 7 reps through this. So moving up and down 6 to 7 times. Any more than that does not actually provide any more relief based on Dr. McGill's research. So it's not a big movement for a long time. It's just a nice motion to warm up the spine and to get it moving a little bit better. The last one we're going to go through is a psoas stretch. So you may or may not have heard of this muscle. It's a tight thick muscle that actually runs from the back of your spine, so your lumbar spine, right down, right through that pelvic floor. And when that muscle is tight, it can create an anterior pelvic tilt, which means your hips tilt forward, which can create some tension in the back of the spine there. So what we want to do is bring those hips up, and we want to do that through this stretch, okay? So it's kind of that elevator bum squeeze we talked about in spinal decompression. So this is going to look like a stretch you probably know well, the hip stretch. However, this stretch on its own does not get into that psoas muscle deeply enough to find the relief. So you want to place your foot behind you at whatever space is comfortable. Bring those hips under. So this is a nice hip stretch right here. Great one that you can do anyways. Bring that arm up over your head. You're now opening up that line, and now I want you to reach back, and you'll feel that get very deep in through the hip. And bring it back down and release. So I'll show this from a bit of an angle on the other side. So we're going to reach that arm up, same arm as the leg that's back, and now we're going to reach back and over our head in the opposite direction. And bring it back down. Now let's do two on the other side. So one leg back, opposite leg back, reach up and back, and you'll feel that nice and deep in there. So what we're doing there is stretching and releasing that psoas muscle. And this muscle is made tighter the more we sit. So ideally, you want to be doing these stretches 2 to 3 times a day, or as often as you can. So remember, back pain is very specific to you. Whether or not you have a pre-existing condition, you should be able to find relief from at least one of these positions. If not, then from at least cutting out some of the ones that may be driving your pain. Please reach out to us if you have any other questions. We're more than happy and more than willing to help you live a pain-free life and help you reclaim what's yours.